In this video, we'll be looking at types of operating systems. Basically, operating systems act very similarly between the ones for your computers and the ones for your phones and others for different types of. Just to make it clear here, even your TVs nowadays have got operating systems. So the ones even for your TVs and so forth, they are also all act similarly. They allocate resources, they make it possible for the user to communicate with the operating system and so forth. So that's clear, that's laid out. But they do differ in functionalities sometimes. Some of them are very robust, such as our multi-user operating systems, and I'll describe them to you. And some of them are very small. Small, I mean, literally they do little functions, small little functions, and again, we'll look at those. So the first type of operating system that we have is what we call the real-time operating system, or RTOS in short. Basically speaking, this one operates in real time. What we mean by operating in real time, we mean that it actually is an operating system that can operate automatically. Usually, this is used to control machinery. You can think of this more in the way that we think of robots, but not at that advanced level. So it's able to make or machines do things automatically. If this is now full, for example, move to the next thing. If this is like usually your machines that you use in big industries to fill up, let's say, your beverages, or in big industries to to put together your car components and stuff like that. Those particular machines are controlled by an operating system, which is an RTOS, because half of the things are not being done by the human touch. Half of the things are being done by the operating system itself, because it can just sense. There's now a body of a car on the rail. Once the body of the car is now on the rail, how then do we put maybe the windscreen on? It puts the windscreen. Once it has checked to see that the windscreen is there are checks to do. Maybe it can actually move across and feel that there's now an obstruction, which is a glass. That means the windscreen has been installed. It moves to the next part in line. Humans don't need to be, coming in and stamping it, so to say. It actually does that on its own. So your RTOSs, you might not be that familiar with them, and I'll understand because of your exposure, because at the time what you are using are not the type, and also they wouldn't really help you, because you need something that you can control and it does what you want when you want it to do so. So these are normally systems that are closed off to the public. They are normally used by big industries to perform those particular tasks. Just think of them as automated ways of functioning. They control the hardware on their own. They are actually made in a way that they don't need much help from humans. They actually can operate on their own. Usually, it's for a specific need, such as your car manufacturing or filling up bottles for your beverages and so forth. Then we've got what we call single user, single task. Single user, single task means this operating system can only do one task at a time, and also can only be used by one user at a time. Let me give this into perspective. As you can see, my computer has got a lot going on. In the background, I've got these screens showing here. I also have this device manager I opened last time. It's still running. And I also have Microsoft Word running here for your learner guide and so forth. This is actually multi-task. So my computer has got many tasks. As you can see here, if you go to the task manager, I've got 9 apps running, 9 tasks that are happening all at the same time. So my computer, and your computer as well, is also multitask. So it's not this type of operating system that we have here. So this single user, single task is whereby your computer will only be able to be running Microsoft Word at a time. Nothing else in the background, nothing else should be happening. And only one user could be logged in and using it. You can't have another person using the same system logged in elsewhere, and another person using the same system logged in elsewhere. Only one user, meaning you, for example, could actually be using this, and you could be doing only one thing at a time. There's no minimizing of windows and then having others being maximized so that you use them and stuff. Only one at a time. An example of this will be the Palm OS. There was, or there's still a device that is popular that, from we had desktops. Then from desktops, we had laptops, meaning a computer that sits on your lap as you use it. Then after that, we've got palm tops, literally a computer that then sits on your palm. But I think that one was made irrelevant by phones. But that might be my that might be my analogy, which might be wrong, but I really feel no one really needs palm tops nowadays because the fact that we have phones, we are able to actually do all the functions of the palm tops and stuff like that. But this is what they used to look like. You can see it's a very teeny tiny little computer that you can then place on your hand, as you can see in this picture, and then be able to use. As I told you, usually they are or they were single user, single task. So meaning you can minimize stuff and you have other stuff running and stuff like that. That was their main function there. That's their operating system. Then we also have what we call single user multitasking. Before you overthink and wonder which one it is and everything, is the one that you are using. Your Microsoft Windows 10, 12, 11, 8, and so forth are single user multitasking operating systems. And that's where we are right now. That's why only you can log in. When you're logging in at the beginning, it actually says what's your name, and you put your name, your password, you should set that up, and then you're able to do a lot of tasks at the same time. That's single user multitasking for you there. Simple as that. There are many OSs, and the most that we're more familiar with these days, like your Android and everything, they're exactly that. Your phone could be taking pictures while it's on WhatsApp, and it could actually be recording a video straight into WhatsApp and sending that video thereafter. Those are many tasks that are happening at the same time because your operating system can allow that, because it's a single user and multitasking. And then the last one is the one that we are doing in this particular topic, which is multi-user. We don't even need to say multi-user multitasking, because we can't have multi-users and one task at a time, because that literally won't even work, So it's a multi-user. When it's a multi-user operating system, it allows many different users to take advantage of the computer resources simultaneously. So you could actually be logged into the same computer at the same time and doing different things in different offices at the same time. Some companies actually have this setup. Even universities sometimes have got such a setup. It can cut on costs. But also the disadvantage is that once the big CPU that everyone's connected to dies, we are all in trouble. So it just depends. You then balance out, the advantages and disadvantages and so forth. But the truth of the matter is that on this particular type of operating system, you're actually able to log in, you and your friend and your neighbor and everyone. You can log in with your own different screens and keyboards and everything. The CPU will be one. So you are all logged in at the same time and you are using the same CPU at the same time. But your experience, once you put on your own user details, your experience is different. You could actually have things that you see on your screen that even the others, in as much as they're using the same CPU, they have no access to. It's almost like the CPU is like your normal building. Let's say a building with many stories. So you could be living on the 4th floor and using the 4th apartment on the 4th floor. But it doesn't mean that you have access to the 5th apartment in as much as you have access to the building itself. So literally the building is actually multi-user. And many families can actually use the same building, but it doesn't mean that the next family can actually go and use the stuff that belongs to the next family. I hope you understand my analogy there. So that's your multi-user operating system. It allows many different users to log in at the same time. I doubt you have had the experience using it, but if you have had the experience using such a system, good for you. But after time, you just have to imagine now, if we come from a single user multitasking, such as your operating system on your computer right now that you're using right now, we can easily now imagine, what if we could just connect a different screen and a different mouse to your computer, and there's someone else being able to, type and do whatever they want to do on their own using the same computer that you're using. That's multi-user operating system there. You can only do that with certain type of operating systems, and there are many of them. We've got your Windows 2000, and your Novell network. We even have the latest ones from Microsoft. They didn't even mention them here, which are basically just were meant for what? For multi-user purposes, for you to be able to log in all at the same time and do many different tasks on your accounts all at the same time without even knowing that someone else maybe is watching a video on the same computer, is another person's typing a CV on the same computer, another person is playing a game on the same computer. It then goes without saying that its tasks here will be crazy. There will be a lot of tasks that are happening at the same time. And therefore, this computer needs to be really robust. It needs to have a lot of resources. Its RAM needs to be big. Even my 24 gig will be a small thing there. You might need RAMs up to a extent of 50 gigabytes, up to 100 gigabytes just for RAM. And its storage space as well, it needs to be big because a lot of users are storing a lot of things there. And also it gives us also the advantage of that. Now, even our printer could just be connected to one computer, and when I want to print, I just print and I go and collect my stuff. And another person could want to print as well. They just go and collect their stuff. We don't need to buy many different printers to be sitting on different desks now and then maintaining those printers, buying toners for them, buying paper for them, paying electricity for them. That would be too laborious. Now we can just sit back and relax as we actually all function with the same one-stop place, which is our multi-user operating system computer. So that's it about the different operating systems. You can then go ahead and read more. You can see there are so many pages about that. If ever anything comes to you that confuses you, do not hesitate to talk to me. And before I end this topic, always remember, if ever now you're answering questions and you have forgotten where you can find your multi-user, for example, you can just press your Control and F on your keyboard and type in multi-user. Once you do so, as you can see, I've got many places where it's now highlighted in yellow that there is multi-user operating system, multi-user. Now I can then look for where what I'm looking for. Maybe I was looking for the advantages, disadvantages, and so forth. I can then find them and then be able to answer the questions without getting frustrated and scrolling all over the page forever. That's how you do that type of function. I hope you learned a lot. If you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me. Do not hesitate to get in touch with me. I'm here to help you and make sure that you pass. Thank you so much. See you on the next lesson.